Facebook Live, right on time. Here I am this week, R. Christian Minson, coming to you from Rhythmia Life Advancement Center, Guanacaste, Costa Rica. Always sunny and warm, unless it's rainy and warm. But now we're into the dry season. What is it? Since November till May at least, we probably won't see a drop of rain. Welcome as you come on. If you're coming on to the recording, know that we spend about the first 4 or 5 minutes just welcoming people. So if you want to skip ahead about 4 minutes, then you'll get to the content. Right now, people are saying, breathe. Yep, just breathe. Belinda, good. Nice to see you here. Haven't seen you for a while. Susan, hi from California. Kevin Peterson. Dave Powers showed up. Debbie, Dave Powers, greetings. And wow, we're getting on quick today. Lots of folks joining on. That's great. Give me hearts and likes and all that kind of stuff. I love to get the communications. Tell me where you're from. Tell me what's the, Tina, you're in Costa Rica right now? Are you visiting Maiku and Ingala? Great. Kevin Peterson, hello. Hey, how you doing? In BC, Belinda, South Carolina, enjoyed your time here last year. When are you coming back, Belinda? We need you back. We're getting more and more people back here at Rhythmia. Right now, we're averaging about 1/3 of the crowd as return guests, which is really a great way to anchor in the energy. There's not so much nervous energy because we got a few people that are holding down the fort, that have been through the program before, that know that there'll be ups and downs, but know how to navigate through that a little bit better than if it's ever been your first time. So if there's ever been a time to come to Rhythmia, it's now. It's great. More people showing up. Brad Kingsbury, Gord Barrett. Hey there. Maria Angel Brewer from Salt Lake City. Angie Nicole from Orlando, Aaron Joe from Seattle, Celeste Lynn with a good smiley face, hello. Johnny Fast, hi. Debbie from Arkansas, Kyle. Johnny Fast, see you tomorrow. Hey, great, Johnny. Remind me, come seek me out and say, hi, I'm Johnny Fast, and I was just on your Facebook Live. Great, I want to make your acquaintance. Belinda, soon, good, get yourself here. Tina, you're living with them now for the entire time they're here. Are you going to come back to Rhythmia while you're here in Costa Rica? Ellie, hey there. Mariah, watching from by the pool. Yeah, loving my brother. So we talked to Mariah earlier, and she is here. She's here right now. So such a fan, can't miss a moment of these Facebook Lives. So she's by the pool at Rhythmia, watching us, watching this broadcast. I invited her into to be part of the live studio audience, of which up to this date I've never had. Probably be kind of awkward. The studio is not really set up for a whole crowd to be here, but I welcome that. If anybody ever wants to come with me and watch this from the inner workings, I'd be happy to join. Brad's coming from Boston. You'll be someday soon. And Gord Barrett joined. I thought you just joined, Gord, but maybe it came off and joined again. All right, here we go. We're 4 minutes in, and up to 24 people. So I'm going to get started. So welcome everybody officially. My name is R. Christian Minson of Rhythmia Life Advancement Center, Guanacaste, Costa Rica. I'm the director of the Breathwork program here. I've been here now 15 months or so. I'm a certified transformational breath facilitator and senior trainer with the Transformational Breath Foundation for the last 12 years. I was a monk for 10 years before that, practicing meditation techniques which focused on harnessing the power of our breath. So all in all, I've had 22 plus years working with the breath in some way, shape, or form to enhance ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I'm also a speaker and author. Can't find my book today. It's somewhere around. Align, Expand, and Succeed, Shifting the Paradigm of Entrepreneurial Success, which is basically about merging business and consciousness. And the chapter I write in that book has to do with using our breath to help us make important decisions in life. If you're coming to Arrhythmia, you can get that book here, and I'm happy to sign it for you. A number of people have done that. It always makes me feel slightly more important, but the more important thing is that you read that and apply those lessons in your life. And really, whether you're merging into business or relationships or family or whatever, that book is really about merging consciousness with all facets of life. So today we are talking about, Tina's coming March 10th, Arrhythmia. All right, that's when Maiku and Engla are here, right? Jennifer Sadini, hey there. Debian Doreen from LA. Nusrat, sorry, what was that? But love you, man. All good, all good. Jenny Greer, welcome. So today the topic is just breathe. Why don't we take a moment just to breathe? Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Just let it go. Maybe one more of those. All right. As you do that, just note how you feel. Feel the sensations in your body at first. Like I just feel this dropping in. I've been actually preparing for this, so I'm a little frenetic. So just taking those 2 breaths even, and you can continue to do this while I'm talking if you want. It just shows the power of how the breath can like alter our state in almost an instant. Bringing it first awareness in the body. So I feel just this like muscular relaxation. Then you might feel into your emotions. Like those 2 breaths just brought my attention to my heart, which is where we want to operate from generally. A little less in here, which is where I tend to be a lot of the time. So to drop in the heart is good. And then, and then make a conscious choice to move into whatever activity you're doing. So today, again, we're talking about just breathe, the importance of breath in our overall well-being. And I alluded to the physical dimension of our being, the emotional dimension of our being, and ultimately the spiritual dimension of our being. All are influenced by our ability to breathe and ability to breathe properly. And that, our focus will be really on the role of breath work in helping us breathe properly. Which brings us to why. Why, we've all heard that advice and probably even given it. Just breathe. When something comes up in your life, something comes up, somebody's a little angry, and you're like, hey, just breathe. Or, they're a little anxious or upset. We say this because it's really inherent in our system. But do we really need to learn how to breathe? I like to tell a joke sometimes. I'll tell it to you. Give me some thumbs up, give me some hearts and all that if you want to hear a joke. It is a clean joke compared to John Jacob Mubarak, who works here, has a whole spectrum of colorful jokes. I try to keep mine to the clean side. Enough people gave me a little hearts and likes, so I'll tell the joke. So this kid goes into the barbershop, millennial kid. He's got his Beats, Dr. Dre Beats headphones on, and he asked for a haircut. So the barber is like, okay, but he's going to take the headphones off. He says, no, leave those headphones on. Barber's like, all right, this is going to be interesting. So he starts cutting the hair and doing what he can around the earphones, but eventually he's got to move them. And so he takes those earphones off, and the kid immediately slumps down in his chair like that, like lifeless. The barber's startled, so he puts the earphones back on, and immediately the kid perks back up. So the barber's a little, a little off balance. So he's trying to, again, do the hair cutting and work around the things. But as soon as he gets frustrated, he pulls those earphones off again. Immediately the kid just slumps down in his seat. And when the barber puts them back on, he perks back up. So he's done his best to do it. He's doing some final trimming and all that. He just can't get around those earphones. So he pulls them off. The kid slumps down once again. So the barber's like, what is this? He puts the earphones on himself, and he hears a recording going, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And so, of course, he understood, right, why the kid was, what the kid was doing with those earphones. So do we really need to learn how to breathe? Well, hopefully this illustrated that a little bit. Hopefully we don't need to breathe as much, be reminded to breathe as much as the kid in the joke. But I dare say that what I'm about to share with you could affect your life dramatically for the future. And it's really simple. So let's bring it more personally at home and get on your buttons to like and heart me. Let me ask you a question. Do you lack energy and vitality in your life? Raise your hand by giving me likes or hearts. You can, in the physical realm, do you have poor sleep or chronic pain? Again, give me those hearts and thumbs up if this is you. There we go. A few folks there are asking for it. I feel like I'm being stuffed in a box, just here to see what helps. Good, Kyle. This can help you. What's your views on North City? All right. Twisted Pixie, I think you're in the wrong chat. Great. Emotionally, do you have yourself in your life an abundance of emotional upsets? Do you feel like you're carrying emotional baggage, or do you feel like you react easily? Again, if you do, give me those likes, hearts, those kind of things. Let me see what's going on here. I'm reading some of these. Sorry, what was that? All right. Good, a few people there. And just more on a spiritual level, are you feeling disconnected? Do you feeling a little lost, seeking purpose in your life? More deeper meaning, or feel like things are relatively meaningless? Again, if this is you, go ahead and send some hearts, likes, those kind of things. Basically, I'm asking those questions because life is a process of evolution, and this evolution requires us to balance these dimensions of our being. All right, and some people are giving me those thumbs up for that spiritual dimension. Good. So at least this is speaking to some of you out there, and the rest of you are going to find benefit for, if you got all those ducks in order, then the benefit to breath work is really putting you at the top of your game. How can you enhance your abilities even, to the nth degree more? And as I was saying, life is a process of evolution, and it really includes balancing these dimensions of our being. It's my belief that we hold all the tools necessary to do this right in this miraculous system of the body, mind, soul being that we are. In fact, I often tell a story, God or the universe or whatever made us in his or her or its image, and was contemplating, all right, I made this being in my image. I want to endow it with all the power that I possess. I want to give each individual being access to all of the power of the universe, of myself. But I don't want to just hand it to them on a silver platter. I want them to hide it and have them work for it, right? But I don't want to hide it too difficultly. I want to, where can I put that power? Right underneath their noses. And of course, that's our power. The power that lies right underneath our nose is our breath. And unfortunately, even though the divine being tried to put it there so it wouldn't be too hard to find, it seems like for many of us, it's been a very difficult task to come into awareness of this power that we actually possess. Let's see. I feel great after a week at Rhythmia, blah, 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 revolution, not evolution. All right, we're getting some cross-talk in here, so I'll let you guys talk, Matt and Twisted Pixie, to yourselves there. So we've got this power. Now it's revealed, hidden right underneath our noses. So we really want to discuss the question, what is conscious breath work? You know, what is it, and how do we incorporate this into our lives? And so we're really talking about conscious breathing techniques. So let's break that down. Conscious breathing techniques. So we can take breathing, and that obviously, that word denotes that what we're talking about is using our breath, using our respiratory system, working with this process of inhalation and exhalation, and how to optimize it. The word conscious implies that we are going to focus on this process, that we're going to stay aware, alert, that we're not just going to breathe without awareness, unconsciously, but that we're going to focus for some period of time. It may be 5 minutes, it may be an hour, but for that period of time, we are consciously aware of what we're doing. And what we're doing is implied in the last word, techniques. All right? Techniques are specific forms of something to produce specific results. Again, in this case, specific forms of breathing. Techniques of breathing would be specific ways to inhale, specific ways to exhale, a specific relationship to the inhaling and the exhaling, and that is what we stay conscious to, this technique of breathing for whatever period of time we decide that it's important. Looking up, so I was just thinking about the power breath yesterday. A man on the plane was sitting next to me and having a panic attack. I reminded him to breathe with the belly and give a break to his chest load. It made all the difference in him. Excellent, Oksana. That's just it's exactly what we're talking about. It's as simple, for many of us, it's just as simple as choosing to breathe and be conscious that we actually are breathing. Show of hands by thumbs and hearts. How many people find themselves at some point during the day holding your breath, like unconsciously stopping breathing? You may be working at the computer and you're focused, and all of a sudden you realize, I haven't breathed in 2 minutes or something. Or if you're really tense or angry, you may just find yourself locked up in the breath. Again, give me those thumbs up and hearts if this is you. The first remedy is just to be conscious of that and breathe. So let yourself breathe, like this man Oksana was just talking about. By just telling him to take a few deep breaths, it's that held breath that actually activates the panic response. It's connected to our reptilian brain, and the fight or flight response when we are threatened. And a panic attack is basically caused by some perceived threat, whether it's real or imaginary. It's real in the brain. It activates that fight or flight response, which causes us to breathe very shallow. This is the breath pattern, or we'll hold that breath. So think about it now. That response causes us to breathe in this certain way so that we're ready to like bolt or to fight it out. But if we find ourselves breathing that way, and often, like we said, if we find ourselves holding our breath for periods of time unconsciously, the reverse happens. The breath pattern starts to activate that fight or flight response in our brain. So we wonder why we're suffering from chronic anxiety. We're wondering why we've got chronic stress in our lives, because we've habituated ourselves to a breathing pattern that is causing that. And the remedy is just to take some deep breaths, get into a breathing pattern that's actually going to induce peace, that's going to induce relaxation, that's going to induce well-being. like Oksana was saying here, getting that breath down into the belly, taking a few deep belly breaths, and we'll talk about a technique that that we can employ to help us habituate ourselves to this more holistic and healthy style of breathing, so we can let go of that anxiety and stress that quite possibly isn't even real. It's just been activated by the habit of breathing poorly. I have a nasal whistle when I get nervous. All right, Oksana, thank you for the breathing reminder here. Same thing happened for me, top of a Colorado mountain. I had many worries surfacing, and once I went into following nothing but the breath, the conscious present breathing, it released the heavy emotion and brought the amazing ease. There's something you said there, Oksana, too, that's important, is that when we're breathing, when we're spinning out, we're spinning out in our head usually, and we start getting anxious or tense, I would posit that 100% of the time we are future projecting, or we're past reminiscing. In other words, we're not present to the present moment. One of the things that just breathing can do, the only place you can breathe is in the present. Have you ever noticed that? You can't breathe in the future. You can't breathe in the past. You can breathe now and it becomes the past, but the only place that you can actually actively breathe is in the present. And so just by focusing on your breath, it focuses you on the present, which causes you to let go of your future thinking or your past thinking, which is where your anxiety and stress is lying. And so you just by being present, you come into a more balanced and peaceful state. I like to keep a healthy anus. Great, Ben. All right, I drove to Dundee in my bare feet. All right, so a lot of good practical jokesters on today. Love it. Say if you guys breathe, you might even be funnier. So back to our topic, conscious breathing techniques. Now there's dozens of different techniques out there, and the techniques are designed to have a specific result. So let's say you may know the technique if you've ever practiced yoga, this alternate nostril breathing. You hold it, hold the next nostril, you exhale that. You hold it, inhale, hold it, exhale out. This balances the hemispheres. This brings balance to your left and right brain and helps center and calm you. In yoga, you might do what's called Ujjayi breathing, which is an aspirated sound, meaning it makes a sound that you try to keep even through your inhale and exhale. This brings you into great focus and balance. And again, if you're practicing yoga, if you're trying to stand on one hand and wrapped in like a pretzel, you need a lot of focus and balance to keep yourself in alignment there. So that produces that result. There's the fire breath. You know, a lot of heavy pushing of, excuse me a second there, heavy pushing of the exhales. It's a very cleansing breath. It's, you know, to detox. So when you're looking for a specific purpose, you find the specific breath pattern that's going to work it. John Scott, how you doing, by the way? So my monkey mind is a time traveler, kind of like Doctor Who. Exactly. Travel into the future, you travel back into the past. So Celeste, yay, yogic breathing. Yep, there's all sorts of great things we can get from yogic breathing. And is it best to focus on and stick with one breathing style, mix it up, or no difference? Well, great question, John Scott. I'd say, you know, what I'm talking about here is conscious breathing techniques. I'm going to the basic premise is every technique has a specific purpose. So when you're looking to achieve that purpose, you can employ that technique. So it's great to have a tool belt. You know, you can have a hammer and a screwdriver and a saw. you're not going to, if you need to saw something, you're not going to use your hammer on it, right? You're going to pull out the saw. That's the perfect tool for it. So if you're needing to detox, you're not going to do ujjayi breathing, that even meter breathing, but you're going to do the fire breath, you know, that strenuous exhaling. That's going to detox you. However, I do have one breath pattern that that's the transformational breath that I was trained in, that really has a wide base of application. And so, to answer your question, if you, I fully encourage you to explore all the different breaths out there. But if you're looking for one tool that's sort of like a multi-tool, the transformational breath is, I'd say, that powerful tool. And we'll talk about how to do that here in a minute. The results of this transformational breath, first, if we're talking, you know, about the purposes, is one, on a physical level, you do this breath and you'll, if you need more energy, it energizes you. We're bringing abundant amounts of oxygen into our bodies in a short period of time. Oxygen is our #1 energy source, so it's going to enliven us, energy. It gives us energy. Interestingly, by energizing our body with oxygen, if you're in need of sleep or you're having sleep issues, it tends to balance that. And most people who have sleep issues and they come to me for a breath session report that they get the best night's sleep they've had in months, even by having, you know, gone through that technique and then sleeping that night. So this has happened time and time again, enough for me to know that sleep really can be balanced through practicing this technique. Detoxing too. We're better at detoxing. One, as we're breathing, we're getting the blood flowing. We're getting oxygen moving. We're getting all the cells activated, so they're dumping toxins out of our body. The act of breathing is actually the pump for our lymphatic system as well. So it's causing the lymph, which is the essentially the garbage removal system in our body, to move and take that garbage out through the liver, and then we expel it. So energy, better sleep, better detoxification, all on a physical level. If you want any of those, practice this transformational breath technique. On that emotional dimension, this is a powerful breath for dredging up old, toxic, stagnant emotional energy. Energies that we've stored from the past, like traumas we've had, energy that we've repressed, that we've suppressed, you know, emotions that come up that we didn't want to express at the time, so we sort of stuffed them down. They don't go away. We're locking them away in our physical field, and they're continuing to influence us until we finally let them go. So this breath actually helps us release our grip on this energy and bring it to the surface to clear. So we get this emotional clearing. Often a huge emotional catharsis can happen if we're storing a lot of that energy. Once a lot of that is out, we bring our emotions into better balance. So we're not thrown off balance by our emotions. We're not heavy into fear, or heavy into sadness, or you know, heavy in the anxiety and such. But we bring it into balance, and we can, you know, we may feel those things, but they're in balance with our peace and our happiness. Sheila saying hi. All right. Got to see who's actually with me and who's just having a fun time on chat. All right. So on the emotional level, the final thing is that once we brought that emotion into balance, we can begin to develop a new relationship to all of our emotional states. Think of our emotions as like mail that you're getting. And, you know, every emotion has a message for us, just like every piece of mail has a message for us. You get a letter from your friend, it's a message of love, you know, a message of connection, whatever. You get a bill in the mail, maybe that's, you know, a message of anger, or you know, a message of anxiousness. But think about this. if you don't want to feel your anger or don't want to feel your anxiousness, it's like you get that bill in the mail and you don't want to read it, right? So you don't want to, so you don't open it. But that bill has an important message for you. It's basically saying, if you don't pay this bill by the end of the month, we're going to repossess your car. You're not going to have a vehicle to drive anymore. So that may be the same thing as like your anxiousness saying, if you don't pay attention to me, if you don't hear the message, you're going to have a heart attack. Your vehicle is going to be out of commission. As a dramatic example. So basically, as we learn to have this new relationship with all of our emotional states, we open all the mail. We receive the message. We have anger, and we allow it to be there to give us the message. Then we let the emotion go, and we act on the message. If fear comes into our being, fear is usually one great mentor of mine said, fear is the compass needle pointing north. So if you really get what the fear is about, usually that's telling you what direction you actually need to move in for your greatest growth and happiness, instead of running away from it. If you didn't open that mail, you'd be avoiding that direction, which could actually bring you that greater growth and happiness. So then we come to that spiritual level. If you want spiritual results, this breath is very powerful at inducing just feelings of bliss, feelings of well-being. It has a way of connecting you with your energetic higher self, which as you do, you get downloads of information so that you may find more meaning and purpose arising in your life, more answers to questions, why we're here, what do I need to be doing with my life, all those kinds of things. More awareness, just being present again as you breathe and stay, focus on the breath, which focuses you on the present. It focuses you on the presence, the essential fabric of reality, the essential fabric of experience is right here in the present. So keeping you present, you're more aware of life. The more you project in the future or the past, you're actually disengaged from life. You're actually living in a dream world. So the more present you can be, the more aware you can be of things, and that can help you make decisions in your life. And ultimately, if you're wanting to feel more connected to yourself, connected to those around you, and ultimately connected to your creator or that source of that energy, this breath brings that about. So it brings us then, if you're interested in any of those dimensions, physical, emotional, spiritual, any of those results, this breath covers all that territory. And so you can find different breathing techniques, which will usually address one or a few of those different results. But again, if you want your best bang for the buck, just go for this one. And so how do we do it? The idea is 3 words: full, free, flow. And you may have heard me say this on other Facebook Lives. We want a full breath, taking breath through the mouth, getting it into the belly. We lift it up to the chest, and we breathe at a faster pace. This gives us what this is doing is bringing abundant amounts of oxygen into our body in a short period of time. Oxygen is the catalyst. Oxygen is the carrier of the prana, or the life force, which is really what's activating within us that's creating all these effects. So full, we're getting more, we're probably getting 5 times more oxygen than we normally do just breathing. Most of us breathe at about 20% of our capacity or less. If we could raise that up to 60, 70, 80%, even close to 100% with each breath we take, you're going to find a tremendous difference in how you feel just by breathing. So full, free. Free means to relax the breath, easeful, graceful. It's especially prevalent on the exhale. We should just let it go. We're not doing that forced fire breath, and we're not controlling it where we're trying to get rid of every last bit of air. It's simply a relaxed sigh. So full, nice and full, free, relaxed, and flow, meaning that the breath is a fluid, dynamic process. In other words, think of a circle. If you look at a circle, you can't find a beginning or end. It's simply a continuous movement. You just go inhaling or exhaling, inhaling or exhaling. In other words, we're not pausing. The breath isn't stilted. And there's a reason for this. We've been talking about the past and the future. Our mind, as we breathe, if we keep the breath connected, it keeps us focused on the present moment. Again, where life is happening, the present, where the presence is, the beauty of life. If we pause our breathing, even for a short moment, it's like those moments where we're holding our breath. The pause is like a doorway that opens, that either helps our minds escape into the past, where we dwell in regret and shame, usually, or the doorway into the future, where we're residing in anxiety and stress and what's to come. So we close those doors by keeping the breath continuous and flowing. It forces our mind to stay present, and we're not dwelling in these places that are exacerbating our anxieties or our stresses. So full through the mouth, faster paced, belly to chest, free, nice and relaxed, and flow. Continuous circular breathing. So, all right, there's a lot of, comments here that are irrelevant, which is making it hard for me to see some relevant comments, but Doreen says, how often can we do this breath and for how long? Great question. You can do it for as little as 5 minutes. You can do it for up to an hour or longer. What I recommend is doing this practice starting at 5 minutes and then working your way up to 10 minutes. If you feel good there, working up to 15. Remember, some of the things that can happen is an emotional catharsis. You unlock pockets of energy that come up, and that may express physically, so you might get weird physical sensations that you're not used to. It may express emotionally, where you just get emotions that you've been repressing. And there's nothing inherently dangerous about this experience, but it may be a little bit disconcerting if you're not prepared for it. So I always recommend trying to breathe for longer periods of time with a professional, somebody like myself who's been trained in these processes. You can search online. You can, if you want, you can have Skype sessions with me. I do individual sessions by Skype, or of course come to Rhythmia. That's probably the easiest way to get the most bang for your buck. But then gradually increase, do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And so you're getting used to, not as much that happens in an hour usually happens in 5 minutes. So you get a little taste of being able to handle that stuff. And if there's okay, try 10 minutes and then try 15. You get to a place, some people are secure enough in themselves that they can breathe that whole hour. But I'd say do it gradually. And if you can do it, great. If you can't, employ the help of a professional. Yeah, Dave, I'm not sure how to, but I sure would love to. Let's see. So let's practice, shall we? This is just breathe. It's a chance. Some of the characters online today have given me good pause to breathe. So let's just use the practice to let go of anything that's bringing you to any kind of emotional state which you feel is discordant or out of balance, helping you to refocus on your center, to energize yourself, to feel a little bit more connected and maybe get some downloads or answers to questions that you got. So let's just do this for about 5 minutes. I will show you exactly how this works. And so I'll set a stopwatch or timer rather for 5 minutes. And we'll go to it. So remember, full, free flow. To the mouth. So inhale into the belly. Let's get you down there. Belly into the chest. And then out. With that pace. And here we go. Notice if your mouth is open, get your mouth nice and open wide. Put your hands on your belly if you want. And feel. As you inhale, you should feel a balloon blowing up. Feel that movement. As you breathe like this, you might first feel a little bit of dizziness. Keep breathing as I'm talking. You might feel your mouth a little bit dry. These both will pass if you just keep going. Here's an added bonus. If you're breathing, you try smiling. Note how that affects the quality of your feeling. Aaron Joe, just choose whatever position you want right now. We'll talk about that at the end. If you want, you can put a hand on your chest. Feel it going all the way up. Inhaling, exhaling. Full, free flow. It's making sure you're not pausing. So the breath is going to be a little bit faster, usually on the inhale. Sometimes we'll exhale and we'll just rest there. We want to re-engage the inhale right away. Then you might start feeling tingling through your body. You might start feeling emotions coming up. It's all good. Your mandate is to feel what's ever present, even if it starts to tear you up or you feel some anger or other emotion. Just feel it, but gently keep breathing into it. The rule of thumb is inhale, and then on the exhale, express that emotion. Inhale, new energy. Exhale and express that emotion. When sensation arises, you can pay attention to them if you like, or you can just be present, pretty much present to whatever's happening. So if a sensation arises and it takes your attention, let it be present, but always keep some attention on the breath. So if your focus on your breathing evaporates, if you start focusing on other things, the first and primary thing is to focus on your breath. Okay, so in and out. Almost done, 20 more seconds. Three, two, one, and at the end, if you want to, take a deep breath in and hold it. Just let yourself relax in that held breath for as long as it's comfortable for you. Just let yourself feel. You'll often feel heightened tingling, heightened sensations, heightened awarenesses may come. Whenever it feels right to you, just let it go. Close your mouth, start breathing through your nose. Normalize, which means generally slow the breath down. Still focusing on breathing relaxed. Still focused on breathing full, but it might not be as full. Eventually it will be. Just feel, just allow yourself to enjoy the sensations. Whatever's coming up, there may be a little dizziness, there may be a little tingling and aliveness. You might have gotten some kind of download. You might have felt a little bit emotional and let that go. If there is emotion coming up and it's still present, continue to breathe gently into it until that wave passes. But let's see some of the proper comments. Celeste, this is so powerful. Thank you for guiding us through the breath. You're awesome, awesome. Back to you. Thank you for sharing that. Zinlin joined. Hey there. And good. So how do you feel? If you got any comments, I'd love to get some comments on how you feel to override some of the Twisted Pixies' twisted comments. Let's see, or just give me some thumbs up and hearts if that was good for you. Was it good for you? It's good for me. And see, that was a 5-minute session. How powerful was just that 5 minutes for you? And know that if you wanted to keep on going, you could go on for another 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm getting some good hearts and likes. Good. Doreen, thank you. Feel great. Rick, just tune in time. Felt like a good panic attack. And Rick, so that's a great thing. And thanks for the hearts and likes, showing me that that stuff is working for you. So we're talking about, if we go back to the emotional dimension of this being, one of the first things that can happen is emotional clearing, which means, like you said, it felt like a good panic attack. This is because that panic, the anxiety, is dwelling within you. As we start breathing, we unlock that and bring it to the surface. Now we have a phrase here we use at Rhythmia a lot, which is what's coming is going. So what's coming up is not, we're not adding panic to your life by breathing this way. We're releasing the panic, the anxiety from your body, and it's coming up temporarily through your conscious threshold. So you're temporarily experiencing it, but if you keep on breathing, you're ushering that panic out. And so sometimes it might not, the practice may not feel great, but you will feel great afterwards. So, but in case of Doreen, she feels great from the beginning there. Wayne, thank you for showing us this breathing technique. And this is just a little taste of what you can get at Rhythmia. We do these, these sessions for an hour, and such powerful transformation happens. So powerful that many people say it's as powerful as the plant medicine, and a number of people even say that it's even more powerful than the plant medicine. We do weeks here of just breath work totally, so all the medicine throughout the week is our breath ceremonies, all the ceremonies. I just signed up somebody for that in November. We've got Greg Braden coming in November for doing a breath week. Our next breath work week will be in February 17th, if you want to get on board for that, where we go through this whole breathwork process, and it's fabulous, as powerful, like we said, as the plant medicine. Maria, very powerful. Gord, been hoping you'd do something like this. Excellent. Glad to hear that I finally did. Feels good from Tina. Jurassic Park. Spice World, great. Thanks, Twisted Pixie. Rick Everett, I had one panic attack when I was younger. Now I'm spiritual. It was great. Thank you. And that's it. So I want to leave you with this. What if you were to practice this every day? Could you commit 5 minutes of your day just to getting in alignment with this? Think what your life could be like if you could little by little just siphon off some of this energy in a nice, gentle way. As you increase it, you can get more into it. I can guarantee you that what's going to happen is this is like exercise. If you exercise, you start to get muscles, right? If you exercise the muscle of your breath, you're going to start habituating yourself to this kind of pattern. You're going to start breathing stronger. You're going to be breathing, you're going to breathe more often like this, which is going to induce habits of peace and well-being in your life, rather than, as we said, if you're habituated to that shallow breathing or habituated to holding your breath a lot, that induces that stress and anxiety. So the question is, do you want more peace, more well-being, more connectedness, more feelings of enlightenment and good feelings in your life? Then start breathing like this. My goal for you, and ideally your goal for yourself, is ultimately to make every breath a transformational breath, which will make every breath you take turn your life into a transformational experience. And again, life is this process of evolution. The more evolution we can get done before the end of this life, the less we have to do for coming back again and again. We might even liberate ourselves from this this body prison, as some might call it, if we get far enough in our advancement. Let's see. DMT told me to lay off for 5 years and find other ways, so thank you. First time I ever tried that. Great, Rick. This is, what this is doing? Accelerated breathing, I understand, actually promotes release of DMT into our system. So DMT is the activating agent in our plant medicines, but it's in our brain already. DMT is what comes in and causes us to dream, causes us to have these wild experiences in our consciousness. So this accelerated circular breathing actually releases DMT into our brain, which is why we can get some of the same experiences as we do in ayahuasca or taking DMT. What's coming is going. Boy, do I love that. Thanks, Candace. Remember that when you're practicing this technique, because sometimes it's not always comfortable, sometimes it's not always feels nice, and you might be encouraged to quit because you're like, I don't want to feel this way. But when you realize what's coming is going, you've been feeling that way. It just might not have been conscious, or it may be coming out, leaking out in subversive ways. As Sigmund Freud said, unexpressed emotions never die, they just reemerge in darker and uglier ways. So this is happening as long as we hold that energy. As long as we can dredge it up and keep it moving, even if it's uncomfortable for the time we're practicing the technique, that's that much energy that we now no longer are holding in our system that continues to influence the way we think, feel, and behave. My favorite Beatles album is Revolver. John Scott. Would non-stop transformational breath constantly stir things up? Not sure. That would be fun. Well, the idea is, I mean, when we get to the point where every breath is a transformational breath, at that point we look up one of my Facebook Lives where I think it's the 3 stages of healing: coping, healing, and thriving. And first we just breathe to cope, to get ourselves above water. Second, we breathe to heal. So we go back in the past and we do a lot of this heavy lifting. We do a lot of this heavy cleansing. Then the third phase is thriving. So the idea is that then doing the breath, we're actually stimulating our highest potential. We're giving ourselves direction and information to help us, and energy to help us become the best beings we can be. So in the end, doing continuous transformational breath, every breath being a transformational experience, would be fun. We would be in that thriving state and continuing to evolve ourselves that way. Robert Bruce, Brother Christian, hey, best breath work ever. Thank you. And your Shakti Love Goddesses. Yeah, so Robert was here last week. He's involved in the musicians community, professional musicians community, and we started a band in our breathwork called Christian and the Shakti Love Goddesses, because I was there facilitating, and the rest of the facilitators are just beautiful women, love goddesses that really just impart amazing energy and love to you. And that's one of the greatest things about coming here. You get not only hands-on with like one person, but 5 or 6 or 7 people are there helping you get into the best breathing process possible. And that's just going to accelerate your growth even that much faster. Candace, I will forever remember that. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. Excellent. And that was the What's Coming is Going. And Rick, thank you so much for the live broadcast. Massive gratitude. We'll pass the info on to my company, U Therapy. Also a gift from DMT and Dream. Namaste. Excellent. So it's a great way to bring it to a close. Here we are at the top of the hour. R. Christian Minson from Rhythmia Life Advancement Center signing off this week. Join me every week, Fridays, 1 p.m. Costa Rican time. I guess that's 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And if you're on the European continent, you'll have to figure that out. But it's also recorded, so you can get on the recordings if you missed part of this or you want to review it. It comes on the Facebook videos on the Rhythmia page, and also Rhythmia's YouTube page. We upload it to that. So with that, go out there, make a commitment to doing this breath work at least once a day, and always good to see you, Bud. You look very well. Thank you. Thanks, Robbie. Robert Bruce. Whoever reading this, it may be on the fence about going, go now. It will transform your life in extraordinary ways. So Robert's talking about coming here to Rhythmia. And we can guarantee you to a 93% guarantee that this will change your life. And for the other 7% that don't necessarily get their miracle, they still go away with a deep sense that something has shifted. Kevin, thank you for the refresher. I needed that. Great. It makes me feel good. Gord, I've done DMT twice. My first experience after the first hit, I saw third dimensional vibration and watched vibration increase. And I breathed into those particles, and now they saw. And my second breathing, the second time breathing hasn't been the same since. Now when I focus on my breath, meditating, or even just taking a second to take a deep breath, it sends uncontrollable surges of chills through my entire body every time. Well, hopefully plants are amazing. I next. Yeah, good. Well, come on down, Gord, and do it with us. This is the safest, cleanest, most most fabulous place to experience the plant medicine. We'll take good care of you, and we'll also incorporate the breath work. Breath work at the beginning of the week, plant medicine in the middle of the week, breath work at the end. Or come to our breath work only week in February 17th. Another one in, there's another couple throughout the year, but then the November one will be Greg Braden as our guest speaker there, and we'll be doing the breathwork week all then. Great guy, great time to come. To all of you, namaste. We'll see you next week.